Science Beetle.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, in this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about assignment value that is given over to variables. So in the last video, we had talked about how we created variable names, and we had talked about the various rules that were associated with when you give names to variables. In this video, we want to talk about assignment. And so that's when you actually give meaning to the variable that you created. You actually assign it a variable value, either numeric value or a value in terms of a string or just a simple character as a placeholder for something else perhaps. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. So let me just give you the general mechanism by which we actually put this together. So on the left hand side, I'll just give you the general structure of the assignment. On the left hand side, we're going to have the variable name. And so let's go ahead and get this here. Variable name is on the left hand side, and what I'll do here is I'll use camel case just because we want to have the variable name here. So we have camel case here on the left hand side, and then we're going to use an operator. Now we're not going to be talking about all of the operators in this video because that's going to be reserved for another video, but here I will introduce one of them. And so the one operator I am going to use in this video is called the assignment operator. And that would be the same thing that we use in mathematics. So if you've ever done any algebra where we say x is equal to 24, for example, that equal sign is the operator I'm talking about. So here, right after the variable name, I'm going to put the operator equals. And notice I put a space between the variable name and the operator sign. I'm going to put a space after the operator sign. And then I'm also going to, here at this point, I'm going to give you the value of that variable. So I'm going to put here the value. So this is the general construct or the variable structure that you're going to use when you're making an assignment. So one thing I want to make sure I say here before we move on is the value that you assign to this variable. It could be various things. The value here, let's go ahead and write it out for you. Value can be, and then it can be any of the following. It could be a string. It could be a numerical value itself. It could be a character. Or it could also be a collection of characters, a string, or it could actually even be a function. It could be anything you want it to be quite honest. And the idea is that if you've already declared it, you've already given it some kind of assignment in a previous section of the code, you can use that variable and continue to use it. So a value can be any of these things, and it can even be another variable. So let's just put that. And so let me go ahead and comment this out because that's just a comment. And so let's use that format now to give an assignment to a couple of examples. So let's say that you decided to do a single letter variable name. And so the very basic one that we might see in algebra classes, for example, is going to be x. And let's go ahead and give it an assignment value of 1, for example. And so it's as simple as that. So on the left-hand side, you got the variable name, space equal sign, space, and then the value. In this case, the value is a numerical value. Now, I didn't have to take any additional steps to declare or tell the compiler or the interpreter, hey, the value of x is of this specific type, because Python inferred that the type of this value is numerical. It already does that. You don't have to worry about doing that. It happens automatic. Now, in later videos, you're going to see that we're going to actually talk about this thing called typecasting, where we can actually change the type of data that is assigned to a variable. We can actually change its type, but we'll reserve that discussion for later. Here, we continue on with the discussion here. Let's take another variable. For example, we often use y in math as well. And let's give it an assignment of, say, 2. Now, if I try to run this here, nothing's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and press the run button here, and you'll see nothing happens on the right hand side, largely because all we did here at this point is we've told the interpreter, or we told Python, I'm just making an assignment. I'm declaring to you, Python, that please allocate some space for variable x, allocate some space for variable y, and give the assignment that is located at each of these spaces for x and y, give the value of x, make that equal to a number 1, and for the value of y, make that equal to a value of 2. And just store it for me. When I want to use it, I will declare or call the variable, and then I will do something with that, and maybe perhaps I'll print it to the console so that we can use that or at least see that. Now, having said that, how is it that you're able to see the value of these things? Well, unless you actually use it in a function or you actually call the variable to be displayed to the console or to the shell, in our particular version here, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to be stored in memory. But if I want to see the value, I can use a function called print. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go a line. Print function, it actually looks like this. So we would write print followed by 2 parentheses, and you actually have to finish the command by putting a semicolon at the end. Now, inside the parentheses, we want to put the value. So generically, we can actually, let me go ahead and comment these 2 out just to show you. I can put inside these parentheses anything I want. If I want to display, for example, a string, I can put that in quotes, and I can say, this is a string. If I start with double quotes, I end with double quotes. If I started with a string, single quotes, I have to end with a single quotes. In this case, I use double quotes. So let's go ahead and press run, and notice it's going to print out what I have inside the parentheses. But what if I wanted to display one of the variables? So let's go back over here. Let's remove the comment for the x value. Now x is visible. And if I wanted to display that value to the console, all I have to do is put the value here, the variable name x inside. And since I've already made the assignment for x equal to a value of 1, now that I put the x in here, we should expect a number 1. So let's go ahead and press run. And notice we do get number 1. Because it made the connection here in the function, go ahead and print whatever the x is. And since I've already made an assignment that x is equal to 1, what's going to be printed here is the value that we've assigned to x. The same thing would be true here if I put y in here. Let's go ahead and uncomment the y, and if I put that, we're going to see a 2. So let's go ahead and run that, and you can see that the thing is there. Now, what if I wanted to make an assignment with, say, multiple letters? So let's go in here and change this. I could actually put here for y, for x, for example, I can actually, instead of put x, I could actually put in Bob as the variable name and equal to 1. And if I use that print command again to display, I can come in here and say print, open parentheses, close it, and inside the parentheses, I can put Bob. If I put Bob, I should see the number 1 displayed over here on the shell. So let's go ahead and run it, and sure enough, we do. However, there are a couple of things you want to make sure you are aware of. What if here, when I made the assignment, instead of putting Bob all in lowercase, what if I put Bob with a capital B, which is, it can happen. This is an error that is common. Do you expect that we're going to get an error here? Give you a second to think about that. Actually, because we put Bob up here in line number 4, all lowercase, in line number 6, I made the mistake of putting a capital B. Remember I had told you that variable names are case sensitive? When you change the case upper or lower for any character in a variable name, that actually gives you a brand new variable. So when I put the command here in line 6 to print Bob, I'm actually asking for Bob with the capital B to be displayed to the console. I haven't declared any value or haven't assigned any value for Bob with a capital B at the first letter position. So that's going to result in an error. Let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. And so we can see here in the error, notice the error occurs in line number 6, and it says that Bob is undefined or not defined, largely because I have not given Bob a value. Now, if I come back over here to line number 4 on the code side, and instead of a lowercase, if I change that to a capital B and run it again, notice the value of Bob equal to 1 is displayed, and that's because I've properly assigned Bob a capital B in line number 4, and I've used that same name designation with an uppercase at the first position inside my parameter here inside the parentheses. Then when the print function runs, it's going to look for capital B OB for Bob, and since it now knows in line number 4 that we gave it a value of 1, that's what's displayed in the output. So that's the way we make assignment here in Python. So join us in the next video as we continue to learn. See you then.